You have to love old-fashioned men's rooms. The citrus scent of deodorant discs in the long porcelain trough, the stalls with wooden doors and frames of cool marble, these thin sinks in rows, basins supported by rickety alphabets of exposed plumbing, mirrors over metal shelves. Behind all the voices, the slight sound of a ceaseless trickle, inflated by echo against wet porcelain and a cold tile floor whose mosaic pattern looks almost Islamic at this close range. The disorder I've caused revolves all around. I've been half-dragged, still pinioned, through a loose mob of administrative people by the comp director, who appears to have thought variously that I am having a seizure, prying open my mouth to check for a throat clear of tongue, that I am somehow choking, a textbook Heimlich that left me whooping, that I am psychotically out of control, various postures and grips designed to transfer that control to him, while about us Royal Delint, trying to restrain the director's restraint of me, the varsity tennis coach restraining Delint, my mother's half-brother speaking in rapid combinations of polysyllables to the trio of deans, who variously gasp, wring hands, loosen neckties, waggle digits in CT's face, and make passes with sheafs of now pretty clearly superfluous application forms. I am rolled over, supine on the geometric tile. I am concentrating docilely on the question why U.S. restrooms always appear to us as infirmaries for public distress, the place to regain control. My head is cradled in a knelt director's lap, which is soft, my face being swabbed with dusty brown institutional paper towels he received from some hand out of the crowd overhead, staring with all the blankness I can summon into his jowls, small pucks, worst at the blurred jawline of scarring from long-ago acne. Uncle Charles, a truly unparalleled slinger of shit, is laying down an enfilade of same, trying to mollify men who seem way more in need of a good brow-mopping than I. "He's fine," he keeps saying. "Look at him, calm as can be, lying there." "You didn't see what happened in there," a hunched dean responds through a face webbed with fingers. "Excited is all he gets sometimes. An excitable kid, impressed with, but the sounds he made. Undescribable. Like an animal. Sub-animalistic noises and sounds. Nor let's not forget the gestures. Have you ever gotten help for this boy, Dr. Tavis? Like some sort of animal with something in its mouth. This boy is damaged. Like a stick of butter being hit with a mallet. A writhing animal with a knife in its eye. What were you possibly about, trying to enroll this... And his arms! You didn't see it, Tavis. His arms were flailing. This sort of awful reaching, drumming wriggle, waggling. The group looking briefly at someone outside my sight trying to demonstrate something. Like a time-lapse, a flutter of some sort of awful growth. Sounded most of all like a drowning goat, a goat drowning in something viscous. This strangled series of bleats, and yes, they waggled. So suddenly a bit of excited waggling's a crime now? You, sir, are in trouble. You are in trouble. His face, as if he was strangling, burning. I believe I've seen a vision of hell. He has some trouble communicating. He's communicatively challenged. No one's denying that. The boy needs care. Instead of caring for the boy, you send him here to enroll? Compete? Hal, you have not, in your most dreadful fantasies, dreamt of the amount of trouble you have bought yourself, Dr. So-called headmaster, educator. We're given to understand this was all just a formality. You took him aback is all. Shy. And you, White, you sought to recruit him. And terribly impressed and excited in there without us, his support system, who you asked to leave, which, if I'd only seen him play. On court he's gorgeous, possibly a genius. We had no idea. The brother's in the bloody NFL, for God's sake. Here's a top player, we thought, with Southwest roots. His stats were off the chart. We watched him through the whole Whataburger last fall. Not a waggle or a noise. We were watching ballet out there, a mate remarked after. Damn right you were watching ballet out there, White. This boy is a balletic athlete. A player. Some kind of athletic savant, then. Melodic compensation for deep troubles which you, sir, choose to disguise by muzzling the boy in there. An expensive pair of Brazilian espadrilles goes by on the left and enters a stall, and the espadrilles come around and face me. The urinal trickles behind the voice's small echoes. "Perhaps we'll just be on our way," CT is saying. "The integrity of my sleep has been forever compromised, sir." "Think you could pass off a damaged applicant, fabricate credentials, and shunt him through a kangaroo interview, and inject him into all the rigors of college life?" "Hal here functions, you ass. Given a supportive situation, he's fine when he's by himself. Yes, he has some trouble with excitability and conversation. Did you once hear him try to deny that?" "We witnessed something only marginally mammalian in there, sir." "Like hell, have a look. How's the excitable little guy doing down there, Aubrey? Does it look to you?" "You, sir, are quite possibly ill. This affair is not concluded." "What ambulance? Don't you guys listen? I'm telling you, there's—" "Hal? Dope him up, seek to act as his mouthpiece, muzzling, and now he lies there catatonic, staring?" A crackle of Delin sneeze. "Hal? Inflate this publicly in any distorted way. The Academy has distinguished alumni, litigators at counsel. Hal here is provably competent. Credentials out the bazoo, Bill. The boy reads like a vacuum, digests things." I simply lie there listening, smelling the paper towel, watching an espadrille pivot. "There's more to life than sitting there interfacing. It might be a news flash to you." And who could not love that special and leonine roar of a public toilet? Not for nothing did Orrin say that people outdoors down here just scuttle in vectors from air conditioning to air conditioning. The sun is a hammer. I can feel one side of my face start to cook. The blue sky is glossy and fat with heat. A few thin cirri sheared to blown strands like hair at the rims. The traffic is nothing like Boston. The stretcher is the special type, with restraining straps at the extremities. The same Aubrey Delint I dismissed for years as a 2D martinet knelt gurney-side to squeeze my restrained hand and say, "Just hang in there, buckaroo," before moving back into the administrative fray at the ambulance's doors. It is a special ambulance, dispatched from I'd rather not dwell on where, with not only paramedics but some kind of psychiatric MD on board. The medics lift gently and are handy with straps. The MD, his back up against the ambulance's side, has both hands up in dispassionate mediation between the deans and CT, who keeps stabbing skyward with his cellular's antenna as if it were a saber, outraged that I'm being needlessly ambulanced off to some emergency room against my will and interests. The issue whether the damaged even have interested wills is shallowly hashed out, as some sort of ultra-mock fighter too high overhead to hear slices the sky from south to north. The MD has both hands up and is patting the air to signify dispassion. He has a big, blue jaw. At the only other emergency room I've ever been in, almost exactly 1 year back, the psychiatric stretcher was wheeled in and then parked beside the waiting room chairs. These chairs were molded orange plastic. 3 of them down the row were occupied by different people, all of whom were holding empty prescription bottles and perspiring freely. This would have been bad enough, but in the end chair right up next to the strap-secured head of my stretcher was a T-shirted woman with barnwood skin and a trucker's cap and a bad starboard list who began to tell me, lying there restrained and immobile, about how she had seemingly overnight suffered a sudden and anomalous gigantism in her right breast, which she referred to as a titty. She had an almost parodic Quebecois accent, and described the titty's presenting history and possible diagnoses for almost 20 minutes before I was rolled away. The jet's movement and trail seemed incisionish, as if white meat behind the blue were exposed and widening in the wake of the blade. I once saw the word knife finger-written on the steamed mirror of a non-public bathroom. I have become an infantophile. I am forced to roll my closed eyes either up or to the side to keep the red cave from bursting into flames from the sunlight. The street's passing traffic is constant and seems to go hush, hush, hush. The sun, if your fluttering eye catches it even slightly, gives you the blue and red floaters a flashbulb gives you. Why not? Why not? Why not then? If the best reasoning you can contrive is why not? C.T.'s voice receding with outrage. Only the gallant stabs of his antenna are now visible, just inside my sight's right frame. I will be conveyed to an emergency room of some kind, where I will be detained as long as I do not respond to questions, and then when I do respond to questions, I will be sedated. So it will be inversion of standard travel. The ambulance and ER. I'll make the journey first, then depart. I think very briefly of the late Cosgrove Watt. I think of the hypophalangeal grief therapist. I think of the moms, alphabetizing cans of soup in the cabinet over the microwave. Of himself's umbrella hung by its handle from the edge of the mail table just inside the headmaster's house's foyer. The bad ankle hasn't ached once this whole year. I think of John N.R. Wayne, who would have won this year's Whataburger, standing watch, in a mask as Donald Gately and I dig up my father's head. There's very little doubt that Wayne would have won. And Venus Williams owns a ranch outside Green Valley. She may well attend the 18's boys and girls finals. I will be out in plenty of time for tomorrow's semi. I trust Uncle Charles. Tonight's winner is almost sure to be Dimphna, 16 but with a birthday 2 weeks under the 15th of April deadline. And Dimphna will still be tired tomorrow at 08:30, while I, sedated, will have slept like a graven image. I have never before faced Dimphna in tournament play, nor played with the sonic balls the blind require. But I watched him barely dispatch Metropolis Khan in the round of 16, and I know he is mine. It will start in the ER, at the intake desk if CT's late in following the ambulance, or in the green-tiled room after the room with the invasive digital machines, or, given this special MD-supplied ambulance, maybe on the right itself. Some blue-jawed MD scrubbed to an antiseptic glow, with his name sewn in cursive on his white coat's breast pocket and a quality desk-set pen. Wanting gurney-side Q&A, ideology, and diagnosis by Socratic method, ordered and point by point. There are, by the OED-6's count, 19 non-archaic synonyms for unresponsive, of which 9 are Latinate and 4 Saxonic. I will play either Stice or Polyp in Sunday's final. Maybe in front of Venus Williams. They will be someone blue-collar and unlicensed, though, inevitably. A nurse's aide with quick-bit nails, a hospital security guy, a tired Cuban orderly who addresses me as Ju, who will, looking down in the middle of some kind of bustled task, catch what he sees as my eye and ask, "So, yo then, man, what's your story?"